I don't even know where we start.
Where do you want to start?
Got a lot to cover tonight.
Yeah, it's been quite a week.
Do we go for the Everett in the room?
the spoiled milk in the room.
Everett.
I can say that because everybody already made that joke on the internet. At least 10 people did.
Rotten milk.
This milk doesn't seem so red after all.
Get his ass. Fucked up. We haven't really like covered any weird book drama. Honestly, really that much.
Pretty rarely, which is odd. It feels like that's what we should be doing.
Yeah. If we have, it's been a minute.
So can we start off, because I don't really know who this fella is. Is he like a big deal? Like, why? Can you give me a little bit of background?
My impression of him is he's famous for, and I'm not saying this in a flip way. I really feel like it's just pee is stored in the balls, right?
That's that guy. Okay.
That's the origin, or
I think that's like his most known joke, which, you know, is a thing that doesn't even get credited to him. It's just one of those things that's so viral, it's become part of internet culture. But I mean, to his credit, he's been like doing this like shit postery internet thing for a long time, longer than most people you know.
Oh yeah.
And more successful. You know, he's done weird shit where he's like posted comments on the Arby's page, and then Steve Harvey like featured his comment on his show.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
My wife divorced me. Do you have any coupons for the beefy cheese delight or something?
Oh, yeah.
Steve Harvey puts the comment on the show and like talks about it. And so he's got like several random stuff like
sure.
I guess Chrissy Teigen follows him on Twitter is another thing that people talk about. I mean, he's been playing the game for a long time. He's definitely like gained
he's got a lot of followers too on Twitter, which he's been grinding for a long time. I mean, I think he said he's been doing it since like 2012 or so.
Sure.
So yeah, he was working for Doing Things, which was a big media, somewhat big media company that makes memes and does like
I wasn't aware that Doing Things even existed until the last 2 days. So that's
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I mean the best metaphor I've heard is it's just like the newer, it's like the 2020s version of Fuck Jerry at this point. You know, like they do that kind of stuff and they're hated for the same reasons. They're probably not as big.
Are they working on a Travis Scott documentary right now? That seems like what Fuck Jerry would be doing right now.
It's possible. It's possible.
So he's like an old head in shitposting, essentially. Like he's
like an OG, you know, an originator of this kind of activity on the internet, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. He made like a lot of videos, and he's tried like stuff like that, you know, like
for a very long time. So it's wild that it took this long for him to, you know.
Well, that's the thing. I've always thought, you know, up until pretty recently, you know, I thought he seemed like a super like nice and funny guy, and I enjoyed his content, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. That it's kind of odd. I mean, full disclosure, I mean, I have had a pretty close relationship with Everett up until this week. I think Matt probably has to some degree.
Same here, yeah.
And, you know, it's hard because, I mean, I've never met him in real life. I don't know if you have. I know a lot of people that have. But, you know, it's weird. You kind of like, you get close enough to internet people, you think you know them, but they're not in your life for real. Like, I've never met any of y'all in person. And if y'all go on a transphobic tirade tomorrow, I'm probably not going to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Just keeping it real. Yeah.
Well, it's been nice knowing you, Phil.
Yeah. So Willow.
Yeah. 11 o'clock. It's coming up soon.
I will say I had this conversation. I had this conversation, I guess. I mean, I posted it into the void, and a few people agreed with me recently, where I think this happens a lot, though, where, like, people do get insanely dramatic about relationships that they cultivate with near strangers online, where like there is something that you do have to keep in your heart a little bit. That's like, I don't actually know these fucking people. Like it could be that I interact with posts like all day every day, and I do think that there is a level where that changes, where like something where like our group where we're constantly talking in the chat all day, I think that changes the level of relationship you have a little bit. But just someone who like you interact with their posts on a regular basis, or you see them in your feed a lot, you don't know that fucking person. They could be an absolute fucking psychopath behind the screen. And so it's like you gotta kind of assume on some level, if you're cynical about it, that they all kind of have this in their hearts, or have the potential to have this in their hearts. And I think whatever type of like pathology leads someone to like doing corporate memeing, you're probably just slightly more likely to have that in your heart than the average person.
Yeah, I
argue with that.
kind of agree. I also like to your point about like you not really knowing a person unless you're like talking to them regularly, because it becomes harder to like hide stuff about yourself. I mean, some people are very good at that regardless. You know? And I've definitely had like people I knew or know in real life do crazy shit that I was like, what the fuck? Like I would have never guessed that they would do that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's even more jarring. But you're like if you're just interacting with like their curated posts, right? Because there are like everybody's doing this, right? If you're like a poster, right? You're posting out you're posting, you're curating your content, and you're putting out an image, you know, whether or not it's like genuine or disingenuous or whatever it is, like that's what it is. So it's you have to keep that in mind, that is, you know, you really don't know the person, especially if you're just consuming or interacting with their curated public posts.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should start calling it parasocial media, because that's literally how it works. And it's, I don't know if it's by design. We've talked about this a lot in the group chat, but that's how it works. You know, people have the choice. I think when I have my worst internet mental health days is usually because I'm absorbing all the stuff that people want me to see, and, you know, living my real life that often sucks really bad. And I hope people can understand that from the other side, that you see a cute picture of my daughter and a funny post about putting mayonnaise on my balls, and like you think, wow, Phil, you know, what a guy.
I want what he has.
But my life sucks hard a lot, you know, and I try not to share that. And I think we all go through that experience, you know, and that's why sometimes I just stop. I just deactivate. I'm like, I can't fuck with this anymore.
Yeah. I've got to say, I respect that to a point too, because it's like I've seen a lot of people play out their mental breakdowns through social media, and like I guess there might be something to be said for a level of authenticity there, but also like you got to separate a little bit, man. You got to have a little distance.
Yeah.
Like
once you start dumping, it's
and what I've noticed is that the people who engage in that the most and like put all their shit on social media end up in this weird cycle of it, where like they'll do that, and then because it's the internet, and you see this on Twitter a lot, because Twitter has a very special brand of just like mean-spiritedness that like I personally enjoy, and I'm the kind of person who I can like deal with it and it doesn't really bother me, and I like it can roll off me really easy. Some people aren't made for that. That's totally fine, but stop feeding into it every week. Where like they'll do this breakdown, they'll get dunked on for it, they'll have another breakdown for getting dunked on, they'll deactivate and like rinse repeat every week, and it's like, you're not having a good fucking time on here. Like you gotta it's literally that old like Tyler the Creator post that's like, how is cyberbullying real? Close your eyes and log off while you can just walk away from the screen. And people, I think, really got to do that, or you end up saying some really weird stuff about non-binary people and losing your job.
It's especially strange to me Everett thing is because, like, look, I just post because I like it. I don't make any money off of it. I don't, this is not, I'm not trying to flex or anything like that, but I'm like, I've never been offered like a memeing job or anything like that ever in my life.
Yeah, you're in it for the love of the game.
I'm in it for the love of the game, you know, but, the main, I mean, it's also like if it affords me to like work with cool people like you guys and like stuff like that, you know, like I enjoy that, you know, it's cool. But like if somebody were to offer me a meme job, right? And I'm not trying to like say that I'm like morally superior. I wouldn't, just for the selfish reason of I don't want these people that follow me to govern whether I eat or not. Fuck you guys. I want to have I can turn my fucking shit off anytime I want and say fuck you, and I can go work my regular job and I don't have to deal with any of that shit. But Everett made that conscious decision to put all of his eggs in his online basket, right? And then he proceeds to have a transphobic meltdown and say the N-word in people's DMs. The worst, I mean, it doesn't, how much worse could you get than that? You know, like, that's done, man. Like, you're done, dude. Like,
it seemed, it seemed scripted in like a, you know, almost 2010 way where they're ironically doing blackface or something, you know, because the character is supposed to be, it's always sunny in wherever the fuck Everett lives.
LA, I think.
There you go.
Which it literally is.
Which it is. Yeah,
it's a problem. I think there. It's a problem. It's always sunny there.
Yeah, notoriously, it should hopefully be slightly less sunny in LA.
Yeah, but that was the thing, is when it started to play, and this is something I noticed about myself and a lot of people when this started playing out, was like thinking, well, what's his strategy here? You know, what is he doing? Is he trying to pull a Chappelle? And it's like, he's a person who is not doing the right things, and he's making ill-advised decisions, and that's all it is, you know?
Certain level of self-destruction, honestly. I mean,
I was going to say, it seemed like he woke up, or was it late? I don't know. But it seemed like he woke up in the afternoon maybe and was just like, I'm going to burn all of this down. Like it seemed very purposeful.
I have to ruin my life now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to put some context on it, anybody that's followed Everett for a while has seen these kind of like public standoffs, I would call it, because it's not usually between any one person. It's usually an opinion that sparks backlash, and
it's a lot of people saying this meme is shitty for one reason or another.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was one that happened before where he was DMing people being like, hey, you need to come defend me, and a lot of people were giving him a hard time about that. And it
it the foreskin thing?
No, I forgot about that.
There was a protracted war over his anti-uncircumcised thing.
So, like, that's a great example, though.
One of many,
I mean, that was a very formulated, extremely controversial thing. Not just the conversation about circumcision can get very convoluted very fast.
Yes.
And on top of that, he posted an actual picture of his son's actual circumcision.
What the fuck?
I forgot that's what started it.
Say that's a weird thing to do.
It's a weird thing.
Throw that on the table.
Odd one.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
ill-advised.
I think most people would probably agree on that, but it just, to me, is important to demonstrate the way Everett works. He didn't post that without thinking. And it goes back to the whole doing things situation. They know what to post to get engagement, which is, for some reason we haven't used that word in the 14 minutes of the shit we've been recording the show. It's so important here, right? Which is, normal people don't do things to get engagement online. Like, you could easily go post something inflammatory right now, knowing that maybe you don't believe it, but people are going to get fucking pissed and talk.
I would never do that. So just for the record.
Of course not.
It's fun to get them riled up sometimes. Okay. It's just,